in America, we obviously saw the rise of Donald Trump and, of course, the right-wing populist nationalism that went along with it. Because just as it rose in the US, so did it too rise in the UK. And, of course, again, just as with Trump, going all the way back to 2016, we saw that rise and what happened. And you get until today, to now, and especially in America, where you've literally seen the Republican Party lose the plot completely. Like, it all starts with obviously the January the 6th riots that happened. And the fact that now many Republicans outright deny that it even happened, even though some of them were literally helping to barricade the Senate or Congress, that's it, the Senate doors to stop the protesters getting in. And yet, the one guy's response was, "Oh, it was just a tour." What? But that's the level of pure insanity that they've reached on the right in America with that populist narrative. Because again, it can only go so far, and we are seeing, especially in the UK at the moment, that our own populist right wing is reaching the end of its road as well. Because recently, it has lost two big battles. Two battles that were incredibly important culturally for them, and definitely showed significantly that maybe this right-wing populism isn't a sturdy ground as they suspect in the first place. So, as always, before we do get into discussing the rest of this, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And also down below there are links to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people that do support the channel that way. So, on with this. So, what are these two instances? Well, the first one, of course, is the Fußball, or the football. Obviously, at the Euros, football and England being in the football is a big cultural moment, It's the only time where people will deliberately skive off work or, watch football even in the office. Even I remember going back in time where England got to like the finals or like the semi-finals, we were allowed to go into school late, or even the TV would be rolled in and we could get to watch the football. It would be a bizarre moment in time that I will always bizarrely remember, but hey, there you go. And of course, this all comes down to the England team taking a knee, against racism in the sport and against really in racism in general. And of course, obviously, taking the knee is synonymous with obviously Black Lives Matter, and of course, they then got booed for it. Now, of course, them just kneeling is perfectly fine. It's a perfectly acceptable form of protest, but people booing that is completely nonsense, because all of a sudden you're like, well, hold on, are you for racism then if you're booing this? And of course, that's the side that Priti Patel and of course Boris Johnson decided to take as well. They were supporting these people, booing the players, only for then England to end up, of course, in the semi-finals. And of course, not only that, but throughout the match time and that period, there was increasing racism thrown up against those England players, which went on to just justify them taking the knee, to showing them that yes, racism is still an issue even in the UK, and that this is something that we still need to fight and tackle, because no one wants racism, to be honest. I don't even understand, to be honest, why people get so uppity about it. I just don't get it. But at the end of the day, racism is racism. It's a bad thing. I think we can all agree on that. And like I say, I don't understand why people get so hot and bothered about, people being from, a different country, or even, a slightly different skin tone. It doesn't make sense to me. I just don't understand it. But then again, I was brought up with, different people of different backgrounds and different religions. So I suppose maybe that's why I have that type of view on it. But again, they ended up on the wrong side of history, which again brought huge shame and condemnation for them supporting the people booing that. So that was a huge direct hit against the right-wing populism on this, and they went very quiet on this very quickly. And of course, you saw GB News, one of their reporters, took the knee just to say, hey, I'm in support of them. And of course, what happened? He got thrown off. And I'm like, again, to quote Andrew Neil at the start of GB News, saying how GB News would be a bastion of free speech and reporting, and that reporters would be able to speak their mind freely and confidently without fear of rebuke or being fired. Well, apparently not if you are in support of racism, apparently. Also, sorry, and yeah, you get what I mean. And again, he got thrown off. It was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then, of course, we've had the very recent, shall we say, brouhaha around the lifeboats, and of course, Nigel Farage going out and attacking the Royal Lifeboat crews, and of course, in response, these crews themselves being attacked on social media, being booed in the street. Their job is to literally save lives, regardless of who that person is. Like I say, we do not want people dying in the English Channel. Now, of course, the best way to solve this problem would be to create a proper path to citizenship. But of course, Priti Patel ain't going to do that. Neither is Boris Johnson. They've got no interest in doing something like that. But we saw, again, the public turn against people like Farage, who was, again, a big right-wing figure. And, of course, there is now a GoFundMe page to create the Hover Farage, to buy them a new hovercraft, which I think is an absolutely fantastic point of that. And at last looking for it, I think it was about £20,000, something like that. So they're well on the way to meeting their target. And again, it would be fantastic if that does end up happening. So, feel free to go check that out. But of course, this does seem to be a very interesting moment in history where, once again in America, where we saw that type of stuff sort of slowly run out of steam, are we now seeing it here happen in the UK as well? And I think the answer to that is yes, ultimately. And good. It's about time. Because like I say, sometimes these things cannot carry on forever. And of course, what happens is they have to move from one extreme to the next. And of course, this is where you get, the Prime Minister supporting racism, and Nigel Farage basically saying that he feels sad for them having to do their jobs. And I'm like, this is the type of stuff that, again, we need to fight against, and would be good if it just, came to a very abrupt end and essentially ended up with these more right-wingers flailing in their attempts to try and get attention. And I think that is can result in only being a very good thing, because quite frankly, the less attention people like Farage get, or should we say the more negative attention people like Farage get, to be honest, the better. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button, and of course down below there are links to my Patreon page, as well as one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.